They laughed at his $10 suit. Not a small laugh. Not a polite smile. A loud, confident billionaire laugh. The kind that silences a room. The boardroom froze. 20 people sat around a glass table worth more than most houses. Wall-to-wall windows. New York skyline. Power in the air. And standing near the door was a black man in a faded $10 suit. Slightly wrinkled, shoes clearly worn out. The billionaire leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms, and said casually, "Is this a joke? Did security let him in?" A few people chuckled nervously. The man in the cheap suit didn't react. No anger, no embarrassment. Just calm eyes, watching. The billionaire smirked. "You know this meeting decides the future of a $500 million empire, right?" Then he laughed again. "Next time, at least rent a proper suit." The room relaxed. Power had spoken. But something felt off. The man slowly walked forward and took an empty chair, without asking permission. That made people uncomfortable. The billionaire narrowed his eyes. "Excuse me? You're sitting in a seat that costs more than your entire outfit." Still, no reaction. The man calmly placed a thin black folder on the table. No logo. No name. Just silence. The CFO glanced at it, then froze. His face lost color. He looked at the screen, then back at the folder, then at the billionaire. "Sir," he whispered, barely audible, "are you aware of the secondary acquisition clause you signed last quarter?" The billionaire scoffed. "Of course I am. I sign 100 deals a month." The man in the $10 suit finally spoke. Slow, deep, controlled. "You signed that one in a hurry." The room went dead quiet. The screens flickered. Stock numbers refreshed. Once, twice, then red. A director's phone buzzed. Then another. Then another. Someone stood up. "Wait, what's happening?" The billionaire turned toward the screen. His smile faded. A number dropped. Fast. Another drop. Millions vanished in seconds. The man in the cheap suit leaned forward slightly and said, "You laughed because of what I wore. You should have checked what I owned." The billionaire opened his mouth to speak, but his assistant whispered something into his ear, and that's when his hands started shaking. Because in 10 seconds, his empire didn't just lose money, it lost control. The billionaire's assistant leaned closer, voice shaking. "Sir, the shares that are crashing, they're not being sold on the open market." The billionaire snapped, "Then where the hell are they going?" The assistant swallowed. "They're being transferred." The room erupted. Transferred to who? Is this a hostile takeover? Did someone leak the deal? The man in the $10 suit calmly opened the black folder. Inside were documents. Signed. Stamped. Legal. He slid one paper across the table, directly toward the billionaire. The billionaire glanced at it, then laughed nervously. "This is fake," the man replied softly. "You recognize your signature though, right?" Silence. The billionaire grabbed the paper. His fingers trembled as he read the fine print. The same clause the CFO had mentioned. The one added at the bottom of a rushed late-night deal. A clause that allowed silent ownership transfer if performance metrics dropped below a specific threshold. The CFO finally spoke, voice cracked. We missed the trigger." The billionaire slammed the table. "That's impossible. We're profitable." The man in the cheap suit looked up. "You were until 10 seconds ago." The screens refreshed again. Ownership update completed. 49%. Then 51%. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." The billionaire stood up so fast his chair fell backward. "Who are you?" The man stood as well. He straightened his $10 suit. Not proudly, not arrogantly, just calmly. "My name is Marcus Hale." Some people gasped. One board member's face went pale. "Hale? As in Hale Capital?" Marcus nodded. "I started this firm in my dorm room. I sold it, bought it back quietly. And yesterday, I bought you." The billionaire's voice cracked. "This is a joke." Marcus shook his head. "No, this is accounting." He turned to the room. "Effective immediately, I hold controlling interest." He looked back at the billionaire. "You're no longer CEO." The billionaire's mouth opened. Nothing came out. No shouting. No threats. Just the sound of phones buzzing, non-stop. Marcus picked up the folder and walked toward the door. He paused, turned back once, and said the final line, not loud, not dramatic. "Next time you judge a man, don't start with the suit." He left. The door closed. No music, no dialogue, no victory speech. Just a room full of powerful people staring at a screen that no longer belonged to them. And a billionaire, standing in silence,